Hey, what's up my peeps, and welcome back to another video. If you are a returning subscriber, hello, very nice to see you again. If you are new to my channel and you like seeing me do all kinds of things, please go ahead and click subscribe down below. So, this week I decided to make a video about my personal university experience. I know I've hinted in a few other videos about the fact that I'm a incoming senior in college, and I thought that I could expand more on what my journey has been like with school season pretty much coming up around the corner. I thought this is the perfect time to kind of make a video, and who knows, maybe my experience and my lessons learned could help other students transition easier into college, especially with the given added stress of it being online and everything. So, I guess I should start with the fact that of where I attend. I attend the University of San Diego, not to be confused with UCSD. I attend USD. It is a private, much smaller school that is much more expensive. So, I am a first-generation college student. Technically speaking, my parents both attended college for a short period of time, but my dad ended up going into the military, and so both of them kind of followed along that route. And so I've kind of had to forge my own path on my own with university life, and what that was going to be like for me. So, speaking of my dad being in the military, that's how I pay for the very expensive institution I attend. Luckily, I am very fortunate and privileged to have my father's military benefits apply to my school, and so I have a majority of my costs covered by those benefits, which is very nice because otherwise I wouldn't have chosen to attend the school because it's very expensive, with things like tuition being $70,000. So under normal circumstances, I don't know if I would have chosen to come to this kind of school otherwise. So that's just a little bit of background knowledge for my experience. So let's get into it. Let's start at the very beginning. A very good place to start. So my first year at USD, I was very lucky and was able to join a summer program called Summer Bridge with SSS, which is Student Support Services. They are a program at my school that helps students who fall under one of these categories, or all of these categories, of low income, underrepresented, have a documented disability, or first generation. So I fit under one of those categories and was very lucky and got to go to school early before everybody else came in. I came to school a week early, and I got to move into my dorm. I got to do all kinds of events. I had a mentor. The program was really amazing in preparing me for college, especially since I had no idea what I was doing coming in. So I was like, okay, how's this gonna work? I'm on my own now. So that was really nice. And yeah, I got to attend basic things. Mentors explained their experience. I got to learn from other students' experiences, and I got to go to all kinds of events about financial literacy, and what I had like mock classes that week, and just events to get me adjusted to San Diego as well. I think my year I went to the safari park, and so it was just little things, learning how to use the little trolley system with the little trolley card. That was helpful. I mean, I ended up having a car on campus, which was really, really nice, considering I don't live that far away now. I live about an hour away from San Diego, so it's really nice that I'm still within reaching distance so I could come home, but I was far enough away that I was on my own. So, yeah, the effects, I'd say the effects of the experience were super duper helpful, but the experience itself was a little bit uncomfortable for me personally. Not anything wrong with the program, of course. I ended up helping out the program later and everything, and it's an amazing program, and I cannot thank it enough for everything it has done for me. But just, I was awkward. I came into USD really shy and introverted, and so I didn't really know how to talk to people, how to introduce myself. I hadn't had to make new friends since elementary school. I had basically had friends follow me from elementary school to middle school, and then I would add on friends, and then to high school, and I would add on friends, but I would always have a general support system from my original friends that I'd met in elementary school. So I did not have to make an entirely new group of friends before since elementary school. And so this was new for me. And being someone who was shy, awkward, and introverted, created the perfect trifecta of sitting alone a lot of the time. Yeah, I ended up sitting alone for a lot of the dinners and the lunches and events. I would kind of just sit next to somebody random and be like, hey, nice to meet you. I am here. Yeah, the program tried its best. So at one point, a bunch of the mentors would sit with me. So that was very sweet of them and made my day that one day. But overall, it was me. I just couldn't find a way to introduce myself or put myself out there in a way that made friends come to me. Another thing was that I lived in a single dorm. So whereas a majority of the other students had either a roommate that was there with them already or a roommate that was coming in at the start of the official start of school, I was all by myself. And so I didn't have that in per se of meeting someone and having them around. I just lived alone in a little shoebox, basically. It's about the size of that closet over there. That was the size of my room my first year, which I learned how to be very efficient with my space, to say the least. But yeah, I was super awkward and didn't know how to do things or introduce myself. And you'd think maybe, oh, once everybody else shows up, the majority of the student population and some of the intro events that come in with the welcome weekend and stuff like that, I must have made friends by then, right? No, it got worse. The more people came on campus, the more I felt isolated and alone, and I felt weird because I felt like I was different than everybody else. And I had no idea what I was doing there, because I was like, I don't even know what I might want to major in, let alone who my friends want to be. I don't know anything at all. I'm just here, is kind of how I felt. And so the first few months I was more or less alone. I didn't give up my friend search. I want to put that out into the universe that I didn't ever give up. I attended dinners in the formal gathering because you had the option of like getting a to-go thing and then going and eating in my room alone. And so I thought, no, I'm gonna sit in the dining area and I will hopefully find somebody that will invite me to their table or look at me in a way that says, hey. So I attended a lot of dinners and lunches and everything in the area, and it never happened. It didn't happen. I didn't meet anyone. Until a few months in, I was in a cultural anthropology class, and one of our assignments was to observe people in a populated area on campus, and write down their clothes and stuff. And so I thought, perfect, this is my in. This is how I'm gonna meet people. This is my excuse to go up to that table, replay the scene in my head over and over again, and then go up to their table and say, "Hi, I'm Ireland, and I would like to know what kind of shoes you are wearing for my anthropology project." If that's not the most nerd answer for how to make friends, then I don't know what is. But that was my in. That was my way of finally having an excuse to go up and talk to somebody. So I found a girl that was in my psych class that I had met during summer bridge. So she was a part of SSS as well, and I thought, hey, she probably knows what I'm going through. She's in my psych class also, so I practically know her. So I came up to her and her friends and said, "Hey, can I sit with you? I have an anthropology project, and I would like to record your clothes." And I was allowed to sit. And then a few other people ended up joining, and boom, I basically from that was able to make a friend group that I still have now. Yeah, it was that easy to say. Only took me like 2 months, but that's what it was. That's what got me in the door for my friendship, was me being a massive nerd and needing an excuse to ask to sit with a person. Yeah. I went from coming home every weekend to staying on campus and exploring San Diego with some friends. We would play video games, we would play board games, we would just explore beaches and stuff, and it was super fun. And I still know them, and we still have fun, and we have game nights every so often online now. So don't give up on friendship, because eventually you'll find it. Is my message for my first semester. You're probably asking, you were going to university, what about the classes? How were the classes, Ireland? Well, that's what normal people, I guess, have problems with, is the classes. But I was very lucky. I only had 13 units, the cap at my, by the way, my university goes in terms of semesters, and you typically take anywhere from 12 to 18 is a full load. So I was taking 13 units because I didn't want to overwhelm myself my first semester. And I enjoyed the classes. I loved my classes. I loved having about 30 people in my classes and being able to approach my professors and having them basically get to know me in class instead of just brushing me off. I spent a majority of my time, instead of getting to know friends at first, I just spent it alone in my room studying a lot. So I would just get ahead on all my readings and organize my things, and I think that's when I started Game of Thrones. I had a lot of time on my hands, and yeah, first few months I didn't give up, but at one point I did spend a lot of time in my room alone. So yeah, that was my class experience. Pretty smooth sailing in my classes. Partially because of the summer program and getting to know a lot of like faculty and stuff like that, but also because I came from a high school in which I was a part of like an accelerated nerd program. I was a part of a program called the IB program, the International Baccalaureate program, which had very difficult classes and a lot of different things I had to do. And so I would take all of those classes, and they'd be super difficult, and write all these things. And coming from that kind of atmosphere into college classes was a really easy transition for me. I know that's very unusual for most people. Most people are like, I was hit hard by the college classes. I didn't know how to study. I didn't know how I had to be disciplined and stuff. But I had already learned how to be disciplined from 2 years of IB courses and all those extracurriculars and service things I did in high school. So I came in and was like, oh, I know how to study. I know how to take notes. I know how to organize my schedule. I've been planning my schedule for the past 2 years anyways. So let's just plan a lighter schedule, actually. It was like, oh, instead of taking 6 or 7 hardcore classes, I'd only be taking like 5. Sign me up. So that's what I was like during my first semester. And then second semester rolled around, and my most notable experience there was that I, spur of the moment, a lot of my decisions you might notice in this story is spur of the moment. It's kind of, I took a chance and it worked out for me really well. So I took a leadership course with my friends with the SSS program. The same program that was a part of my summer bridge, I was now taking a leadership course with them in order to become one of those mentors that were a part of the program that I started in. And so I joined the class more or less because my friends were in the class, and I thought, why not? 1 extra unit's not anything that's going to kill me, so why not? I'll take this leadership course. When I started the course, I wasn't too keen on actually becoming a mentor. That was the end goal of the class, of course, but I thought, I don't know if I'm really cut out for that. I'm really introverted and I'm really awkward, and that's just probably not going to be my thing, is what I thought. And then I took the course, and towards the end of it, applications started to come rolling around, and I thought, I might as well apply. Is what my rationale was at first. I thought, I might as well apply. It can't be that bad, because I had like flashbacks of like my experience, and I was like, I was alone and I was awkward and no one liked me. And so I was like, oh no. But then after this class, I got to know people, and I was like, oh, these are the same people that were during my summer bridge program, and now I'm like friends with them. I was like, oh, I was just really bad at putting myself out there, is my excuse. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna sign up for it. I'm gonna apply for it and see where it takes me. If I get it, that's amazing. And I can help the incoming freshmen get adjusted, even better than I was getting adjusted. And so I thought, yeah, that'd be really great. But then I also thought, you know what? If it's not meant to be, it's not meant to be. And so I applied, and then I got passed through to the interview, and then apparently I had a really good interview because I was chosen. I was chosen to be a mentor for the next year, and I was pretty excited about that. Alright, so that was my first year. Those were the most notable experiences, majority feeling out of place and awkward because I'm really shy and introverted. But I guess the overall lesson from my first year is just put yourself out there. You may get to a point, if you're a giant nerd like me, where you think, I don't need friends. I'll just study and work hard in college, and I don't need friends. But eventually you'll find people that will make you like having friends and want more friends and things like that. So that was my first year experience. Oof, second year. Second year was... wowza. At my university, you don't declare major until your second semester of your second year. So I still had time to declare, but I was anticipating majoring in behavioral neuroscience. So that was a mix of basically science and psychology, more specifically biology and psychology. But I had to take all of the sciences. Yeah, I took chemistry my first year, and so my second year I was taking biology and physics at the same time, and it was a living nightmare. My first semester, I started thinking, maybe this isn't what I want to do. Physics is really awful. I hate it with every fiber of my being. There was a point where I thought I was going to fail it. Like, I thought I was going to fail physics. And I was like, oh my god, this is it. This is how I end my college career. I'm going to fail physics, and then I'm going to flunk out of school. And then no one's going to accept me anywhere else because I failed physics, and this is going to be the end of me. Because I failed my first test, and I was like, there's no recovering. And I don't know anything else. And I don't see me improving because this is just awful. But I guess that lesson, through all that panic and everything, was maybe this wasn't the major for me. I loved the psychology aspect of it. I had taken like research methods and intro psych, and I loved it. I loved psychology. But bio and physics were not going well for me. I was like, this is not good. This is not how I want to go. I loved my bio lab. My bio course was just a lot of memorization, and I just wasn't good at it. It just didn't stick with me. I had some things that I was pretty decent at, so I ended up with a B in that class. But physics was physics, and I was dying. I was drowning in physics because I had applied every moment of everything to physics. I started going over the homework early and then going to office hours for help on things. I went to office hours before tests. I went to friends looking for help with physics homework. I went to physics tutoring. They offered free tutoring at my school, and so after my class ended at 7, I would book it over to tutoring and do that for an hour. And I would study my butt off before every test and make sure I tried my best at everything. And in the end, I ended up with a B. So I guess I don't know if this is a good moral. The moral, technically speaking, should be that try your hardest and you could do anything. But I had learned that physics was not for me. I had started drowning in physics. It wasn't healthy what I was doing. I would just skip lunches and dinners and just so that I could do physics and do my best. I wasn't sleeping well. It was bad. It was a bad situation. It was an unhealthy situation to be in, and I learned that I did not want to major in behavioral neuroscience anymore. It wasn't for me. So I started thinking, what other majors would I want to be? And at the moment, I was minoring or anticipating to minor in English, and I loved it. I loved English ever since high school, technically. I started in my junior year. I had an amazing English teacher, and she just sparked my interest in writing and the purpose of reading and everything. And in case you can't tell now, I am a writing nerd. So I loved that. I learned that I could write my own stories, and I started creative writing ever since junior year of high school, and so I had continued doing that just for fun, and I had never thought anything would come of it because I thought English is a useless major meant for people who are going to be English teachers. That's what my family had always taught me, at least. So, yeah, I had basically taken every science at my school, but I just learned that I didn't like it. And so I went through a rough spot of kind of like closing myself off and being terrified of the choice that I was making and the fact that it was going to decide the rest of my life. And I switched majors. My second semester, technically speaking, was when I had decided that I was going to double major in psychology and English, and I was going to figure out how to make it work. So second year, I switched majors, still kept my friends, so that was good. Lived in an apartment with my friends, a dorm. I lived in a dorm with my friends, and so I had 2 on one side, and I had me and another friend on the other side, and I had to learn how to live with people, because I'd been in a single my whole first year, and so I was like, oh, okay, I gotta learn how to adjust my living style to everyone else's living style. So I was focusing on that, and then changing majors, and then dying with physics. So my second semester rolled around, and that was a good time. Aside from the fact that my decision was stressing me out beyond belief. And when I went into break, I was panicking even more because I was starting to realize that I have anxiety about a lot of things. Like, I would realize that I wouldn't like going to talk to people, and I would get really nervous during tests and presentations, and some of those things were normal, and some of them weren't. And I started getting worse with things, and so over break I had decided, I should seek help for this. So I had watched a lot of YouTube videos about anxiety and social anxiety, and I started thinking, that looks a lot like me. So I ended up going in, and I took a little like quiz, I guess you could say. Like, you would just like do a little scale of like, this is how I feel doing certain things. And so I would put that down, and it turned out I had social anxiety. I mean, it was obvious, but hearing it was different. She's like, have you heard of social anxiety? I was like, yes, I'm a psych student. I've heard a lot about it. Anyways, I decided to go to therapy for a short amount of time. And by the way, on the little test they give you for it, I got 99 out of 100 points of social anxiety. It's like, oh, that's a good score. That's a really good score. Almost perfect score. Too bad it's in social anxiety. I'd love to have that score on my physics test. Too bad it was not. And so I went for that, and it helped a lot. And if that helps explain a little bit of why I am the way I am on camera, great. If you'd like to hear more about it, let me know in the comments down below. I could definitely talk more about the subject, since I am an expert in it. I've had just personal experiences with it, basically. I don't know. I won't make a video unless it's something that people want, because otherwise it feels just kind of selfish to talk about myself and my own problems for such an extended amount of time. As does this, I suppose, but I'm hoping that this serves a purpose. But yeah, if you want to learn more about that, let me know down below, and I could give you my personal experience living through that, and what it was like, and how it's like now because of things going on in the world. So yeah, it's probably something I'm gonna live with a little bit for the rest of my life, but I can manage. Thankfully, it was a really good decision to go to therapy, to say the least. So third year, that's this past year. The summer before, I had been looking into career options, and what I would like to do with the rest of my life. And so I did a lot of researching about psychology and English, and somehow they must overlap, right? There's got to be some job in which I could have the best of both the worlds. And I more or less found it with speech pathology. So I want to become a speech and language pathologist, hopefully at a school system, because I want to work with little kids. I had found out through high school that I loved working with little kids. It's just something that I enjoy. I found it even more after taking a developmental psych class, the fact that I find kids really interesting and I just want to help. And so over summer, I had stumbled across it and thought that this is perfect. This is exactly what I want to do. I want to help people talk. I think every kid deserves a voice. And I know a lot of bullying comes from things like stuttering and problems with speech. And I know that I've undergone problems with speaking up for myself. And I think that giving kids that voice and making sure they're able to speak up for themselves is something that's really important. And I thought, I want to do this. How can I do this? It must not be that hard, right? But then I looked into it, and I needed to have majors in that. And guess what? My university does not have a speech pathology major or linguistics or anything related, in fact. So I'm double majoring in that. and I met with my SSS advisor to go over academics and ways that I could make this happen, because I really wanted to make it happen. So the way to make that happen was I have to be very selective about my graduate schools, and then I found out which schools I want to apply to. My number one choice is SDSU, because it has a phenomenal program and a clinic and everything. And I thought, okay, I'm just going to aim for this school and then hope that I can apply to some other schools as well, just in case. So I went through a lot of background searching, a lot of finagling and planning, and I eventually found out that this was something that I definitely want to do. And so I just take online courses on top of my already college units. Technically speaking, I'm over 18 units like every semester, because I take a lot of courses. I do a lot of extracurriculars. More or less, I take 19 to 21 units every semester since junior year. So yeah, that was my big event my junior year. I once again decided to become a mentor, so that was my second year of being mentor. So that was really nice. I got to see another group of mentees come in, and I also got to see a few of my own mentees from the past year become mentors alongside me. And so I thought that was really beautiful and something really special. I was like, oh, they're mentors now. I did something right, I guess. I can't take credit. They're obviously their own person, and they're amazing. But I was just glad that I could meet them. Yeah, I leased through the school and had a beautiful apartment that I would never imagine having in my life. It was beautiful, and I had a big room with a friend, and it was great. It was great. Our Wi-Fi didn't work for the first month, but aside from that, it was great. And then second semester rolled around, and woo-wee, things started happening in the world, and I got sent home. So you're probably wondering, what was the transition like from in-person classes to online? And it was awful. I'm just gonna say that. I'm just gonna say it was awful for me personally. I found out in class. I found out on my last class of the day the way that things were gonna work from now on, in the way that I was getting kicked out in the next week. Classes were going offline for the next week, and then after that, classes would start up again online, and I'd have to go home. So I had to figure out, okay, how do I bag up all of my things that I've put in my apartment for the next year in the next day. And it was really sad. I gave my professor a fist bump on the way out, washed my hands, and left, and felt really bad because that was my last official class of the semester, because everything went online after that, and it felt awful because I love taking class in person. It just was so good. I had finally got over my testing anxiety. I was finally gaining my voice in class, and then the world hit, and it felt bad because I had to move home. I added all these things on the shelves to make me feel better and remind me of school. I just felt really unproductive, and I felt really alone at home again. And I started picking up some anxiety that I had learned to manage before, but had just come back full punch to the gut, I should say. I got more anxious with the things that was going on in the world. I got more anxious because I was back at home, and it wasn't the environment that I was used to for learning. I had to figure out how to live with my family again when doing school. Of course, I come home during holidays and everything like that in summer anyways, so it's not like I'm completely foreign to my own family. I love my family, and I love being around them, but it's different when I'm in school mode compared to when I'm in relaxing mode. When I'm in relaxing mode, I come home and I'm a couch potato for the next month or so. But instead, I was doing schoolwork, and I felt like I wanted to lay down and just sleep for the next month, but I couldn't because I had schoolwork. And so that was really difficult to manage, and it was something that I didn't quite get the hang of still. But now everything is fully online this next semester, and so I'm going to have to learn to deal with it again. So yeah, that's pretty much everything. I guess the main thing to gain from all of this storytelling of my past 3 years is have confidence and faith in yourself, and just go for whatever you think you should go for. If you think that you're not going to get it, just go for it anyways. You might be surprised. I didn't think I was going to get the mentor job. I just thought, I'll try and see what happens. And look at me. I was been a mentor of 2 years, and it was a phenomenal experience that I wouldn't trade for anything else in the world. Helped me boost my confidence and my leadership abilities, as well as being able to meet a diverse group of people and understand different people's perspectives and livelihoods and ways of dealing with different things. And it's been a wild ride. And now I'm a senior. What a journey. What a journey we've come on. Yeah, I guess that's the end of the video. That's my college journey. If you'd like to know more about certain aspects of that, or would like to hear me talk about just different things like social anxiety, or what mentoring was more specifically like, what my English classes are like, what my psych classes are like, what it's like being in a sorority that's non-traditional, I guess you could say. Anything you'd like to know, just let me know in the comments down below. And yeah, I guess that's the end of the video. I will see you all later. I hope you liked the video. I hope it's not super boring. Sorry if I ramble on about a lot of things. I will talk to you all later. Bye!